I started my career in higher education and student affairs. And so for me, that the work that I was doing was very intense. And there was a lot of evening, a lot of
Mhm,
weekends, a lot of after time, and not a ton of time off.
mhm,
And I remember, when I got to the point where I was ready to have children, making a career change specifically and intentionally so that I could refocus my time and energy in some different ways.
mhm.
But that was like a personal choice that I made. I didn't have anybody kind of come along and say, hey, you need to do this. I mean, we waited a really long time before we started having kids. And so I think
Mhm.
people thought we just didn't want them.
Yeah.
We don't want to have kids, which is definitely not the case. But we got pressures about that. It's like, oh my goodness, you're like moving in your 30s and you haven't had
Mhm.
a baby. And it's like, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
exactly.
whoa,
Yeah.
but that was one of the things that a conclusion that I came to um, by getting to know myself better over time and observing things in my environment about
Mhm.
women who were doing the kind of work that I was doing or aspiring to do who had children,
Yes.
right? And some of them did things to make some adjustments. Others, they did other things, but it was those choices they made were based on what was right for them and
Mhm.
right for their family.
Exactly. Yeah. And I love that. It's all about you at the end of the day, right? And if
Yeah,
you do have a family at that point, that's always going to be in consideration, right? But it should never be because someone's telling you to do it.
right.
And
Mhm.
that's just, the bottom line of that, right?
Yeah. And you think about how many people live their lives in that way instead of taking the time to like know themselves and invest in themselves, communicate with their partners in life. Instead of doing that and using that as a way to make decisions, they just take on all this noise from the outside
Hmm.
and it ends up just putting them in a spin.
Exactly.